Welcome back. Mr. Emmanuel Mock joins us now to give his perspective on possible solutions to what we're talking about today, the herdsmen clashes with several communities. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, and good morning, viewers.
Well, several ones are going on, discussions, including the ones in the National Assembly, even in different states too. How do they come to a solution? You've heard many of those discussions and suggestions. What would you recommend we do?
Well, I must say that I'm happy to have heard what the last member of the Federal House of Representatives said they're doing, and his personal opinion. Sincerely, I flew in his line of thought. I made presentations at the two public hearings, both the ones of the House of Representatives and the one of the Senate, to show how passionate I am about this matter. I believe very strongly, like he said, and I said so, because I made a formal public presentation through there, that Nigeria is a very diverse country, more than 350 ethnic groups. Each of those communities, each of these peoples, almost 180 million people have equal rights before the law. The government has a common responsibility to every citizen, every citizen. I feel that government is supposed to create an enabling environment for everybody to thrive. Like I said at the public hearing, if in trying to do my business, I destroy another person's business, Nigerian law provides that the person whose business I've destroyed has a right under the law for redress, for me to pay for what I have damaged. As a result of this, farms are businesses, they are sources of livelihood. Cattle rearing and cattle are sources of livelihood. They are economic assets. A farmer should not kill the cows of a cattle rearer. And a cattle rearer cannot come onto the farm of a farmer and destroy his crop. The cattle rearer knows that he's damaging the assets and business of somebody. And the government must see that fact, that one citizen is destroying another citizen's property. I cannot take a, because I'm trying to bulldoze my house, bulldoze my neighbor's house.
Let me jump in. I mean, at that hearing, the ones you attended, both of them,
yes.
Did you eventually maybe interface with anyone else who maybe is of the Fulani stock, or maybe who lives up north, to actually find out what is the understanding, what they have about all of this? Because if you go through, I think it was in Delta State, where they say two herdsmen who were caught in possession of Dane guns, they say for hunting, they were eventually sentenced to, I think, 10 years imprisonment for illegal possession of arms. And the statement they made was they were not aware that it was illegal to possess those for hunting without license. So did you interface with anyone to find, look, what exactly is your thinking about all of this?
Well, those I interfaced with, at least I interfaced with one person that was a serious one, and this person was either from Katsina or Zamfara State. And he said that just as people are complaining, like in Agatu, you have cattle coming to people's farms, that happened in their community. And at one point, the whole community rose up against the Fulani. The person himself is a Muslim. The whole community rose up against the Fulani, and there was a fracas. In that fracas, that the community head was shot and killed in that fracas. And that it ended with police coming to maintain peace, but there was no real peace because our crops are damaged, people are being killed, and you come and just seem to separate the fighting people, and the criminals and murderers seem to have gotten away with it. So even at that public hearing, even though this person did not make a presentation, but he was quite happy with the fact that this thing is being given the public space it's being given. And that maybe, in fact, he said something like, maybe because it's happened in Enugu, that is why people are talking now. Because it keeps happening across the whole country, especially in the north. And nothing seems to be done. It's not even news anymore. You know, so it's really sad. If you look at the one that happened recently at Obiaru, is it Obiaru or somewhere in Delta State? I can't remember the name. I think last 2 weeks. the youth of the community rose up, and I heard that there was a cross-shooting amongst the youth of the community and the headsmen. And then the police came and they were trying to maintain peace. I cannot see how you can maintain peace if somebody, I mean, let's take my village. If somebody takes his goat into somebody's, maybe ugu farm, and your goats eat the ugu in that farm, and then you are fighting that person and the community head comes and says he wants to maintain peace, that the person should take his goat and go. Is that peace? He has to pay for the ugu he has eaten. You're going to seize his goats. That is traditional justice. So the government, I said at the public hearing, you can't have a situation. One day I was traveling from Asaba to Abuja by road, and somewhere around Auchi, there was this fresh corn farm, and cattle were eating it. The cattle area was there, and the cattle were eating the farm. And I could not understand, why would this happen? So I said, how can things like this happen? The cattle don't run. These cattle rearers walk, and so it might take a week for a cattle rearer to move from Ikeja to maybe Mushi. So how come the police are not able to arrest them?
Let's talk a little more about the police in terms of also understanding what goes on with them on this kind of matter. I'm not sure, did they make any presentation while you were there at the time?
Well, while I was there, I didn't see any police make any presentation about it. But when I brought up this matter, this former governor, is it Umar or something, he said that the police do arrest people and stuff. And because I said that the problem for me is government and enforcement, the security forces. Because this is a simple matter of one Nigerian destroying another person's property. And there's a law for it. The police are supposed to seek out these people, arrest them.
Even though they say many of them don't speak.
It does not matter.
Local languages.
It does not matter. And in fact, it's an indictment of the immigration services. How do foreigners get into Nigeria? How can the police IG say that most of these people are foreigners? That means a large percentage of people just walk into Nigeria, destroy Nigerian property, and keep going about their business.
Is that what the IG said?
IG said that most of these people are foreigners. That's what he said. That a lot of these people, even the police said that most of these people arrested are foreigners.
Sorry to cut you there. So if we already have people arrested, because for Mark Bila, he said he's unaware of any arrest made.
Yes.
Perhaps what should we be doing going forward now if we have people already in custody in some places, and it has also been established by the police that these are non-Nigerians? What should the nation be doing?
You see, first for me, we need to define who a Nigerian is. Because you have our borders with, say, Niger and Chad, so porous that people just walk through as if there is no defined point. Who's a Nigerian? These are things that needs to... Immigration has a lot of work to do. That's one. If we're going to solve this problem, clearly. Immigration has a lot of work to do. The police, the individual police officer must have a sense of duty. Even if you are having forces over you trying to force you to not do what you think is right. But a man must be a man and take responsibility. You cannot come... If somebody's farm has been destroyed, they come to the station to report. The DP of that station is supposed to send an IPO out to look for those people and all the cattle rearers in that area, arrest them. You will find who is the one that did it. And those people should be prosecuted. The laws for this are already there. But the thing there is, how do we solve this problem? For me, I believe, yes, there are a lot of bills in the House of Assembly. In fact, there's a bill that I know is being prepared. It's a private bill that would make cattle rearing a private business fully and make it a very interesting
business. Isn't it
business.
a private business?
It is a private business. But the way it is, if government says, government itself is pushing for a commission and a grazing route and a grazing reserve, it's legislating. Government is helping a business. It therefore goes against everything that government is supposed to stand for. So now, what I'm trying to bring out here is, in solving this problem, what I see that is necessary is, one, if government feels that in the interim, because these people are so entrenched in this way of doing their thing, and it will be difficult overnight to just change it, then the only place where we have land that is not so congested with population, where practically every half kilometer you have farms and villages, which is what you have from the Middle Belt to all the south, is the Sambisa Lake Chad Basin. And the Lake Chad Basin is actually geographically, a land good for grass growing and cattle rearing. So if they could say, create a kind of cluster farm, as is done in several countries, a kind of cluster community of farming, animal husbandry communities, where it will be designed in such a way that there's some commercial aspect to it, where those cattle rearers pay for using government's investment in creating such an environment for them. Then these people can be moved out of very populated communities into an area that would be conducive for farming, and water will be provided there for them.